Okay, let's just jump right in. I am absolutely thrilled to share this explainer with you today because we are about to go on a seriously wild ride. We're going to connect the Saturday morning cartoons of our youth directly to the fundamental operating system of reality. Yeah, you heard me right. It turns out the shows we were obsessing over while eating sugary cereal were accidentally teaching us high-level theoretical physics and psychology.
I mean, think back to that incredible era of nostalgia, right? Yu-Gi-Oh!, Digimon, Beyblade, Metabots. We thought we were just watching these epic battles with kids saving the world alongside their monster friends. But what if 90s anime accidentally mapped the physics of reality? I know, it sounds totally crazy. But as you'll see from the source material, the creators of these franchises literally stumbled upon the exact mechanics of fluid dynamics, quantum phase spaces, and thermodynamic computing.
So, here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. Nostalgia's hidden physics, 2. Vortices and bubbles, 3. Crystalline caches, 4. Co-regulation and the power of bonds, and finally 5. Navigating the phase space.
All right, Section 1, Nostalgia's Hidden Physics. Let's dive right into this because across all of these legendary childhood franchises, there is this weird, repeating pattern. Here is the real Trojan horse mystery box. We always assumed these mechanics were just, fun, fictional tropes designed to sell us toys. But when mapped against modern theoretical models, they are literal, highly accurate translations of thermodynamic lattice mechanics and vortex computing. A Beyblade arena isn't just a piece of plastic, it's a vortex generator. A Digivice? That's not a pager, it's a phase space gateway. And Yugi's Millennium Puzzle is basically a perfect representation of a crystalline cache. Moving on to Section 2, Vortices, Bubbles, and Arenas. Let's look at how that chaotic, raw energy, what physicists actually call the K-field or universal carrier wave, is computed into structured reality. So the fundamental architecture of reality operates on this continuous three-step pipeline. First, you have the vortex. Raw energy swirls into a dynamic routing channel. It's just pure motion. Second, it winds into a helix, and this actually writes a geometric record, or topological phase memory, into its own flow pattern. And then finally, that braided energy snaps into a bubble. This is a stabilized coherence domain that protects the information inside from all the chaotic noise outside. It's kind of like watching fluid watercolors spontaneously lock into bright, solid geometric shapes. And this brilliantly illustrates the actual physics of Beyblade. Our sources confirm this completely wild truth. The Beyblade is a physical vortex generator. The mechanics aren't symbolic at all. When Tyson lets it rip with his Dragoon Beyblade, that spin generates actual vortex density. And as that density hits a critical threshold, it nucleates an attractor pattern cached inside the blade's core. We know that manifested pattern as a bit beast. The spin is literally providing the energy pipeline to pull that beast out of the void and into a stabilized bubble, which is the arena. Section 3, Crystalline Caches Save Reality. Which brings us to a really massive question. If reality is essentially just fluid energy and swirling vortices, how do these systems store information without it just, washing away?
The answer reveals this incredible convergence across our favorite shows. Every single one of these franchises independently uses a crystal or metal substrate as the archive medium for information. In Beyblade, your bit beasts are stored in bit chips. In Yu-Gi-Oh!, ancient magic and souls are held in golden millennium items. In Metabots, the entirely unique AI of someone like Metabee is stored in a metallic, ancient, rare metal. This is definitely not a coincidence. It reflects a core intuition about physics. Crystal and metal lattices are the absolute ideal mediums for long-term topological storage.
I mean, let's compare it. Organic memory decays, right? We forget things, our memories alter over time. But a crystalline substrate holds the complete braid topology, the fundamental geometric code of a thing across thousands of years with zero decay. This is exactly why the Millennium Puzzle can perfectly cache the complete 3,000-year-old consciousness of Pharaoh Atem. His data didn't degrade. It was safely locked in that crystalline cache until the exact right coupling conditions were met, which was Yugi finally solving the puzzle. So, where do these caches actually pull their energy from? They interact with phase space. Simply put, phase space is the mathematical and metaphysical domain where all possible states and unexpressed variables of a system exist. It's the void between realities, the raw, unfiltered carrier wave of the multiverse. In anime, phase space has names you're definitely going to recognize. The digital world in Digimon, the Shadow Realm in Yu-Gi-Oh! And guys, these aren't just spooky metaphors. The shadow realm is a literal phase space domain. In normal reality, physics filters out the raw chaos, but in a shadow game, that filtering is completely suspended. You are coupling directly with phase space. That means if you lose, the damage isn't just a physical scratch. Your actual foundational braid topology is directly altered or destroyed. The stakes are terrifyingly real on a purely mathematical level. All right, Section 4, Co-regulation and the power of bonds. Now that we've got the physics of arenas and storage down, let's look at the beating heart of all 90s anime, the one trope that basically rules them all, the seemingly magical power of friendship.
Now, what's really fascinating here is that this bond isn't just a heartwarming narrative device to make us feel good, it is thermodynamic co-regulation. Just look at the coupling mechanic, a tamer and their Digimon, Yugi and Adam, Ikki and Metabee. What's actually happening is a physical domain consciousness is coupling with an external entity. By sharing that energetic load, these two nodes access higher power and increased degrees of freedom, or DOF. Neither of them could access this higher state alone. The bond literally is the physical function.
And this co-regulation? It's what drives mutation, or as we know it, digivolution. Digivolution is absolutely not biological growth. It's an attractor base in transition. When Agumon turns into Greymon, he isn't just getting older, he's running the exact same continuous underlying base code. But because of his thermodynamic coupling with his tamer, Tai, that code can suddenly express a new, vastly higher energy topology. The rune is the same, it's just vibrating at a massive new frequency. But co-regulation is super delicate. Coherent evolution requires proper alignment and emotional recovery to handle that massive jump in energy. What happens if you force it? Well, think back to that classic, terrifying episode where Tai forces Agumon to digi-evolve out of pure fear and anger, and we get Skull Greymon. That is dark evolution. It's a forced Bayesian transition under entirely negative conditions. The system gets the massive energy jump, sure, but it lacks the correct alignment to stabilize it. So it jumps into this powerful but completely unstable and destructive configuration that just eventually collapses under its own weight.
Okay, Section 5, navigating the phase space. Let's bring all these massive multiversal physics concepts out of the digital worlds and the Beyblade arenas and ground them in our real, everyday human psychology. Because this is where this explainer gets incredibly personal.
Our sources frame this perfectly. When you suppress a variable, it falls into noise basins. It becomes part of your shadow cache. See, the shadow realm isn't just where villains go in Yu-Gi-Oh! It literally exists inside our own minds. When you experience trauma or a really difficult emotion and you refuse to process it, that data doesn't just vanish. Information cannot be destroyed. Instead, it gets pushed down into your personal phase space. It becomes physical pressure stored inside your own internal shadow cache. So the crucial point is this. If we don't process our emotional data, unresolved compute debt starts building up. Eventually, your local psychological buffer just overflows. And step 3? That suppressed data violently re-injects into reality. It shows up as panic attacks, illness, or just a total life crisis. You literally break your own reality's rendering engine, all because the thermodynamic pressure of those ignored emotions has to go somewhere. The reality is, you are the one navigating a probability field every single day, just, without the trading cards or the digivices. You are constantly exchanging pressure and phase information with the universe through your emotional bonds, your co-regulation with the people around you, and how you process your own internal data. You are actively mutating your own reality and shifting the vectors of what is possible in your life. Which leaves us with a pretty profound realization. The cartoons we loved weren't just distractions. They were literally a roadmap for how energy, emotion, and connection actually alter the universe. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on today. As you walk through your life, are you actively routing your reality's phase space, intentionally co-regulating and growing? Or are you just letting your shadow cache run the game?